They are rightfully considered the gods of war. Artillery is indispensable in any war. Without it, it is difficult to both attack and defend. And the Russian-Ukrainian war is no exception. Despite the fact that technology has advanced and drones have taken the lead on the Ukrainian front, it is simply impossible to imagine an army without artillery. But while Russia can only boast Soviet artillery and its improved versions during the full-scale war, Ukraine has gathered almost all the most advanced self-propelled artillery systems available in the world.
Truly, indeed brings death to the enemies.
To talk about all the artillery systems would take more than an hour. Therefore, we will focus on the top 5 best ones in service with the Ukrainian army. This power will truly surprise you. Our list of self-propelled artillery systems begins with the Ukrainian howitzer, specifically the Bodana self-propelled artillery system. It is the first Ukrainian artillery system that has a NATO standard 155mm caliber. It is not perfect, but in many ways it is better than the Soviet counterparts. Moreover, it is undergoing its baptism of fire directly on the front lines, which provides opportunities to improve the howitzer. It was first widely heard of during the liberation of Snake Island. However, since then, the Bodana has already undergone modernization, and now Ukrainian defenders are operating on the Bodana 2.0.
We mostly work with high explosive fragmentation shells, but when we were given cluster munitions, we used those as well. And the accuracy with those, our success rate is 90% of all operations. Dig is hitting the target. We hit ammunition depots, fuel and lubricant storage, and personnel. It's impossible to count how many times we fired, how many enemies have fallen by our hands.
Bodana has become more comfortable and received more modern electronics and increased mobility. In addition, the Ukrainian self-propelled artillery can boast a range that, for example, the Russians do not have. Bodana is ready to fire at a distance of 42 kilometers. However, this is not the limit. The declared maximum range of the howitzer is up to 60 kilometers, but the ammunition load is small, only 20 shells. The gun's rate of fire is 5 rounds per minute.
Fire.
The next howitzer we will talk about looks similar to the Bodana, and some might even confuse them. We are talking about the French Caesar. Its history began back in 1994. But the howitzer was only put into service in 2007. It was then that mass production began. The Caesar has also been proving its effectiveness on the Ukrainian battlefield for quite some time.
The firing range allows us to hit the enemy with artillery at any distance, from the front line, wherever they may be. So, currently, the advantage in firing range is ours.
The self-propelled artillery uses the entire range of 155mm caliber ammunition to strike the enemy, including cluster munitions. By the way, during tests in January 2022, the self-propelled artillery fired Excaliburs, high-precision guided rocket-assisted projectiles, and they hit 2 targets at a distance of 46 kilometers from the artillery installation. In total, the self-propelled artillery is capable of firing 6 shells per minute. However, the ammunition supply leaves much to be desired, only 18 shells. However, considering the extremely high accuracy of the Caesar, perhaps this drawback isn't much of a drawback. The accuracy of the French system is ensured by the computerized Sigma 30 fire control system. The self-propelled artillery targets automatically. The howitzer also has a radar for measuring initial velocity, an integrated ballistic control unit, and an automatic shell loading system.
Fly and explore the vastness and discover and uncover new horizons.
The next self-propelled artillery we will discuss is the most powerful howitzer in the Polish arsenal. Its name is Crab. The 155mm Crab was only adopted by the Allied country in 2008. It was then that the Poles began manufacturing it. However, to put it bluntly, the only Polish part is the digital control system. The developers mounted their howitzer on a Korean chassis, initially took the barrel from the British, then from the French, and later from the Germans. And only after that did they decide to manufacture it themselves. The Crab weighs 48 tons. However, despite this, it can accelerate up to 67 kilometers per hour. The Polish crew consists of 5 people. Moreover, as we have already mentioned, the howitzer is equipped with a Polish digital fire control system. Thus, the artillery system itself determines the weather conditions, distance, adjusts the fire, and identifies the howitzer's location in space. The computer also controls the turret, sights, and simultaneously handles ballistic calculations. The crew's task is to monitor these processes and just keep up with loading.
You know, when you choose a car has a soul. Similarly, the crab has a soul.
And this soul is now focused on destroying the occupiers. The howitzer has everything necessary for this. The crab fires different types of shells. This affects the range of the target. The range with high explosive fragmentation shells is about 30 kilometers. With high explosive fragmentation shells with a gas generator, 40. And if you use precision Excalibur shells, then it's all 50 miles or even 60 kilometers. Meanwhile, the declared range of the Polish model is up to 40 kilometers. The self-propelled artillery can fire 3 shots in 10 seconds. The maximum rate of fire is up to 6 shots per minute. The ammunition load is 40 shells. In addition to the main armament, the howitzer is also equipped with a 12mm anti-aircraft machine gun for self-defense. And for camouflage and cover, there are smoke grenades. The next self-propelled artillery unit is rightfully considered one of the best in the world. Even its name suggests that with this howitzer, the elimination of the enemy is guaranteed. It is called the Archer or Bowman. The development of the Swedish Archer began back in the 90s. However, it was only in 2005 and 2006 that the first prototype was tested. The Bowman was commissioned in 2013. Despite the time it took to create the new self-propelled artillery unit, the developers can be proud of themselves. Such power, precision, and innovation are hard to find.
When we drive on the roads, or for example, through the city, we see those looks. Everyone is very interested in such an unusual, fascinating piece of equipment. Everyone watches and waves at us.
When the Bowman arrives at a position, it takes less than 30 seconds to get into combat position and fire a shot. The rate of fire for the Archer is 8 to 9 rounds per minute. And to fire the entire ammunition load of 21 rounds, the Bowman needs only about 3 minutes. After engaging enemy positions, the self-propelled artillery unit needs another 30 seconds to pack up and leave.
Fire! Fire!
Well, if the ammunition needs to be replenished, each self-propelled artillery unit is accompanied by a reloading vehicle. 8 minutes and the howitzer is ready to destroy the enemy again. The Swede fires different types of shells at various ranges. They usually destroy the enemy at a distance of up to 30 kilometers. If the ammunition is rocket-assisted, the Archer can hit a target at a distance of 40 kilometers. And if you load the high-precision Excalibur, this arrow will fly up to the King 60 kilometers claimed by the manufacturer. The Archer also impresses with its off-road capability. The developer assures that the wheeled chassis can move through snow up to 1 meter deep. The protection of the self-propelled artillery is also top-notch. The engine and crew are shielded by armor that protects against bullets and The last self-propelled artillery we will talk about today is the German Panzerhaubitze 2000. Its serial production began in 1998. The developers mounted the artillery system on the Leopard 2 tank base, which speaks for its power. The hull and armor of the self-propelled artillery have steel plating that protects against bullets and large fragments. And in the most critical areas, the armored howitzer is protected by reactive armor, ready to handle cluster munitions. The German is very technologically advanced. It is equipped with a fire control computer capable of ballistic calculations and connection to the artillery management system of its headquarters. In addition, the artillery system has an automatic detection and fire suppression system for the crew and engine compartments. Western countries value their people, which is why their protection is a priority. For example, in the German self-propelled artillery, the crew is separated from the ammunition by a strong partition, significantly increasing the safety use of the soldiers.
It truly brings death to the enemies. When a shot is fired, The guys say that the propellant gases do not enter the cabin, but everything is modern. Everything is in automatic mode. The gun itself understands, the machine itself understands which shell should be where, why it should be there, and how best to load it to make it easier for the crew to work. It truly brings death to the enemies. It's fully equipped inside. The Germans did an excellent job.
The self-propelled artillery can also boast a truly enormous ammunition load. The howitzer is equipped with an auto-loader for a total of 60 Barson rounds. This ensures a high firing rate of 12 rounds per minute. The German can hit the enemy with standard shells at a distance of 30 to 36 kilometers, or use rocket-assisted projectiles. Then the combat range of the self-propelled howitzer will increase to 67 kilometers, and this is a record for such barrels. However, all this is just a small part of the artillery systems that are in service with Ukraine. And it is not excluded that the fleet of self-propelled artillery units may still be expanded. And when that happens, we will definitely tell you about it. In the meantime, like this video and write in the comments if you enjoy the top 5 weapons segment. And be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new episodes of Arsenal.